Hello, and welcome to another episode of Complex Made Simple, where we will talk about the electoral votes and the popular vote in the American voting system. Now, before I get into the technicalities, I would first like to start with the general clarification that at the time of this recording, that is the year 2024, the president is not chosen by the popular vote, but instead the electoral college vote determines the winner. So now you can see how important it is to know about the electoral college vote. The question is, what is this electoral college vote? So in every state in the United States of America, actually let me take that back. Maine and Nebraska are two states which do not follow the electoral college vote. So for all the remaining states of United States of America, each of the state is assigned a specific number of electoral votes. This number is assigned depending on the population of the state. The higher the population, the more the number of electoral votes will be assigned. Now let me bring up this map here so you can visualize the current distribution of the electoral votes in each of the states. This is as of 2024. Give me 1 minute here. Okay, so now as you can see in the screen here, this is the distribution of the electoral college votes for each state. So for the states which have more population, there is more number of electoral votes assigned, and the states which have lesser population, lesser number of population is assigned. Lesser number of votes is assigned. So now the question is, when I cast my ballot, my vote, how does it contribute to the selection process? So each party, that is the Republicans and Democrats, assign an electoral candidate to represent each of these states. So what you have to understand is when you cast your vote for the presidential candidate, basically you are trying to push that party's electoral candidate get majority in your state. And whichever candidate gets majority in the state, whichever party's candidate, they take all the assigned electoral votes for that state and put it in the bucket of their party's presidential nominee. So in the map here, let's say for New York, let me get the screen here. Let's say for New York, as we can see, there are 28 electoral votes assigned. So let's say the Democratic Party wins the majority of the votes in New York, then all these 28 votes, actually this is, let's go by circle. So all these 28 electoral votes will go to the presidential representative for the Democratic Party. Now, similarly, for example, let's say in Texas, where we have 40 electoral votes assigned, if the majority goes to the Republican Party, then the Republican Party's electoral candidate gets the majority, and they will assign all these 40 to the Republican candidates. And let's go by red. So all this 40 will then be assigned to the Republican candidate's presidential nominee. So basically what we have to see is if it is like the winner takes all for each of the state. So whichever party gets a majority, that party will take all these electoral votes for the state under their bucket. There are a total number of 538 seats, the electoral votes for the whole country. So if you divide that by 270 is the number which one party needs to win. So any presidential candidate who gets 270 or more electoral votes combined from all the states is declared as the winner and would be the next president of the United States. So now let me get back to my original screen. Okay, so basically what we saw is how the electoral votes and how the electoral seats play a factor into the voting of the presidential candidate. Now, what about the popular vote? The popular vote is pretty much 1:1. You vote for a presidential candidate and their popularity vote count increases by 1. As simple as that. So it's every one vote counts towards that popular votes, that presidential candidate's popular vote. Now there is a reason why we don't have, we won't get into much of the details of that for now, but there is a reason why the Constitution of America decided to have the electoral college system in place instead of just having the popular vote of 1:1. So among other reasons, it provides all states, even like the remote ones with very less population, to have equal representation in the voting system and makes sure that the presidential candidate covers all the states, not just the popular states or the states which have more population. But let's not get into all that today. As now we have a background of the electoral votes and the popular votes, it is a good point to note that usually the candidate who wins the majority of electoral votes also wins the popular vote. But there are situations, and it has happened quite a bit in the past, where this may not be true. So let's see how a candidate can win the popular vote, that is, win the majority of individual votes cast by the people, but still lose the election. Let me get back to my screen here. Okay, there we go. So now for our example, let's consider we have only 3 states, S1, S2, and let's increase this a bit, S3. Now let's assign a random population for these states. Let's say the population, let me shorten this. Let's say the population of this state is 10. We'll keep it simple for our understanding. Let's say the population of this state is 4. And let's say the population of this is also 4. So we have 3 states. The first state's population is 10. The second and the third state's population is 4. Now to assign electoral votes, remember, like I said, electoral votes are assigned by the population of that state. So S1 will get the higher electoral votes, which is, let's say, 3. And S2 with a population of 4 will get an electoral vote of, let's say, 1. And same will be for S3. Electoral vote count will be 1. Okay, so now with this in mind, this distribution, now people get to vote during the election day. And let's see the results of these votes. Let us assume for state 1, and there are 2 candidates. Let's put them in red. Candidate A and a blue candidate B. So after the elections, let's say on the results for candidate A in state 1, we get, let's put it right back, we get 7 votes for the first candidate, and then it is remaining with 3 votes for the next candidate. Okay, and then in states 2 and 3, let's assume all 4 go to this candidate B. Okay, so with these results in mind, let us see how it impacts the outcome of the result of the presidential election counting results. So for state 1, we see 7:1, 7:3, so candidate A gets the majority. So all these, let's make a circle now. So all these 3 electoral votes goes to candidate A. Now in state 2, candidate B gets a majority. So let's put it out blue. All the electoral votes assigned will go to candidate B, and similarly for state 3, all the electoral votes go to candidate B. Now if we do a count, candidate A gets 3 electoral votes and candidate B gets 2 electoral votes. So you can see the winner is candidate A for this presidential elections result. But if you individually count, candidate A only got 7 votes and candidate B got 4, 4, 3, 11 votes. So this is the popularity vote. So basically if you see, the candidate B got more on the popularity vote, which is 1:1 what the people have voted. But in the outcome of the result of the presidential election, which is through the electoral voting system, candidate A wins the election. Let us get back to our original screen again. So I hope this made a little more clear in your understanding of the electoral vote and the popular vote system, and how sometimes the popularity vote candidate who wins the popular vote still comes to lose the elections. Though if you do have any questions or any other topics you want to discuss, feel free to ask in the comments. That's it for today. Have a good day.